Hello, what's cracking everybody? How's it going? Today we're going to do a hunter guide on the fastest way to level. First thing you're going to want to do is get into Goldbrook. The first thing you want to get is a skill called Bramble Trap. You unlock it at level 6. And once you do, let the leveling begin. I recommend starting leveling with a long bow, find somewhere high, and just start sniping everything in the head. I have on me a white longbow, a green, a blue, and a purple, just to show you the most efficient way to get these levels. Obviously, when you're first starting, you're not going to have access to the high level bows. But here we go. This is just a white longbow right now. And these warrior types have a little higher HP, so you give them 2 shots. And you can just pick things off, if you don't miss, at a distance until you hit your level 6. Once everything's clear, you can move to the next spot. But as you can see, it is a pretty effective way of taking out enemies. You are completely safe. There is nothing that can happen. There's nothing that can go wrong. Now that we've tested the white bow, let's chuck on the green bow, which is quite easy to get. And we'll test the damage on that one. Now you can see that the Dagger Rogue died instantly. He was not, of course, elite. This one is. And I thought he was going to run a little bit forward, but we miss. It should only take one more. There we go. He's down. He was an elite. Put this guy in the distance over here. I see you. He's down. This guy over here. He's down. And I might want to add that this is actually a really fun way of playing the game too. I enjoy just sniping things, finding somewhere high and just sniping things with a longbow. The purple longbow now, and we'll see how that goes. Let's start with the warrior. And now we can one-shot everything that we have a purple bow. So if your hunter is an alt and you happen to have some gear to start off, you're going to be on easy street. Okay, once we have hit level 6 and we've acquired our Bramble Trap, you can use that in combination with Spore Bomb and a few pieces of gear that I'll show now. The first piece of gear is the Wind Strider's item. Your maximum swiftness is increased. We want to use the Wind Strider Leafborn Tunic. Gale Winds. The cyclone created by your Wind Strike also snares enemies for a short duration. This is to push back melee enemies into the Bramble Trap and keep them in there longer. The Eagle Feather Shoulder Plate triggers Poison Affliction on targets, and it grants 3 swiftness for each Poison Affliction, which is where Spore Bomb comes in. And the Eagle Feather Leg Plate. Poison buildup caused by Spore Cloud happens 25% faster. You can use any of the 3 bows. I'm currently using the Silverleaf Swift Bow. The tornadoes conjured by your Tornado Volley last longer. Any of the other 3 are fine, as most of the damage will come from Bramble Trap and the poison damage. With the rings, I like to use bonus nature damage because the biggest damage from our build is going to come from our bird, our Sentinel Strike. Summon an intangible sentinel that soars a great distance, dealing nature damage to all enemies in its path. It even travels through walls. So if we have a maximum swiftness bar, the sentinel bird will come out instantly instead of having to wait for the channel time. Now with that being said, I'm going to show you how to pull mobs and kite in each of the different locations. All right, here's a crash course in line of sight, otherwise known as loss. So you have an enemy on the left and a player on the right with solid terrain in the middle. Imagine it's a house, a mountain, a pillar, whatever. If I turn on these field of view, you can see that they are not able to see each other and they are not aware of each other. But if I was to move up to this side, you will now see that the players have a direct line of sight between each other. They can see each other. When mob pulling, we want to use this to our advantage. If I was to aggro this enemy as the player and then hide around the solid terrain here, the enemy would then be forced to try and get line of sight on me. So say they're ranged, it would have to move to this point so that it's able to see me and get an attack on me. So when it comes to mob pulling and mob manipulation in games, You want to pull the melee to ranged and range to loss. So you'll see me exploit this a lot when we do the leveling, and I hope that this helps. Okay, the first group of enemies that we're going to pull are in the ruins of the Lightbearer's Keep. This is on the bottom side. We're going to pull 3 of these elite skeletons with the archer. We're going to take them up the ramp here. Inside there is the animated armor and another 3 to 4 skeletons, depending on the spawn. You can see at the bottom left, our swiftness bar is now full, which gives us an instant sentinel strike bird, which is going to AoE and cleave through everything that we have pulled. You want to run the enemies back through onto themselves from their original spawn location. If you don't do this, they're going to reset. So now we're going to kite them along a straight line, keep our bramble trap out, keep the swiftness level up, and you can see Sentinel Strike is back out, able to throw it out. Although for this reason, I decided to not do that because the animated armor is pulled behind me and I'm trying to avoid it. On the top side of the Lightbearer's Keep, there are 4 skeletons on the top side, 3 of them being elite. We want to pull them through the doorways and throw traps as we go so they're not able to catch up to us right away. It also ensures that they're taking damage to stay aggroed onto us. Now, these pulls throughout this entire section of clips aren't the greatest, and I did that intentionally to show you that it's still possible to do even if you make mistakes. You can see here I do block a couple of times to block those archer shots. We already have quite a bit of disease build-up, and I actually get pretty annoyed here because I get hit a couple of times when I'm not trying to. So you can see a massive damage surge there on the Sentinel Strike with the bird here. Doing 400 plus damage to everything. And you can see that we're trying to lure the enemies into small choke points. I roll into the wall here. I was actually pretty mad. I made a few mistakes, but you can see that they get stuck in the doorways here. They're all clustered up and grouped, and we can Sentinel Strike them down with the bird. And they're cleaned up pretty easily. Ton of XP to be had. Moving on to the Lightfallen Cemetery. This pull can be quite dangerous. There's a lot of elites here. We pull the elite there, the archer, and the other elite on the ground. And what I like to do is put a trap in the archway to keep them aggroed. Pull the elite archer up on the top, and then run through this graveyard here, which is going to give us another 3 to 4 skeletons to pull back. And again, we kite them back onto the group that we've pulled to keep the aggro. And now we want to try and line of sight a little bit so that we can get the cluster of enemies to group up even more. And we throw down another trap there in the choke. Going to slow everything down. And these elites take quite a bit of damage, so that is why I'm running blue gear currently. This whole leveling experience is possible in white gear. However, you will just have to do more passes than you would in blue. Obviously, you do less damage, but it just takes longer. But it is most certainly possible. These big elite red skeletons, they're a bit of a problem. This one right here, the third hit, I didn't anticipate it. This one made me rage too. I took 2 extra hits I didn't need to. And classic VMAD, getting angry. But they're all sort of just ticking and fight them around the statue, get them all back on track again. Hit all 3 with the Sentinel Bird. Pretty straightforward stuff, eh? To me, this kind of thing is easy. I come from games like Black Desert Online, games like World of Warcraft, where mob fighting is essential, line of sighting is essential, and it comes pretty natural to me. Let me just say that when you're learning this, you might die a few times. The Baron's Estate here, this is a really crazy pull that I'm happy to demonstrate here. And again, not the most perfect execution. So you can see what happens when it kind of goes wrong and how you can recover. Once again, pulling everything into a choke point, keeping the swiftness high. You can see that I cancelled my bird because my swiftness wasn't quite at maximum level. And I opted for the extra double charge shot there. Want to pull all these bombers, everything. All the assassins, give them a little flick with the arrows. Flip the top of that guy's head and then run them back through the original spawn point, remember. Also, I missed the stairs here. Man, that triggered me. I was actually raging about that one. You can see I'm stammed out too. And I'm just zigging and zagging. And thankfully we have the traps off cooldown, which is fine. If that's the case, you can keep them slowed. And that's what we do. Another couple shard shots. Boom, boom. Get it back. There's the sentinel bird. And right here, I just used the tree just to block the bombers. And just to recover a little bit of time on the cooldown of sentinel bird or sentinel strike. Man, I just call it bird. Everyone calls it bird. It's your bird, right? There's two kinds of birds. Maybe we call it S-bird. We need to think of another name or just call it the name that it was given. But I just like calling it bird, man. Bird. Just shoot your bird. Maybe we'll call it green bird and brown bird. Once again, pulling them back through where we originally found them. Keep them damaged, keep them aggro, and there we go. That's going to be it though for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it's helpful. If you guys could like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. Other than that, have a good day / night, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.